Hi, I'm Justin Boyd.
I'm Brittany Pacheco.
And I'm Amber Churchwell.
And we are the Watchers in the Basement. Happy Halloween!
Exactly. Welcome to the Watchers in the Basement. And if you're watching this live right now on YouTube, first off, thank you. But secondly, as Brittany said, happy Halloween. And tonight on this special All Hallows Eve, we are here to discuss the seventh movie in the Harry Potter film series, the Wizarding World franchise. That's right. We're here to talk about Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1. So obviously Hallows Eve, it has Hallows in the title. That's the reason why we're talking about it today.
Justin.
Yes.
I'm going to stop you right there.
Go for it.
Do you know the significance of Halloween in the Harry Potter story?
I unfortunately do not, but please inform me.
It's actually a very sad moment in the world of Harry Potter. It is the day where Harry's parents are killed by Voldemort.
Okay,
yeah.
So we're going to celebrate Halloween in our world. But okay, cool.
Drop in some knowledge for you.
Way to start off the podcast.
Sorry.
on a downer.
Sorry.
In 1981.
Oh wow. Okay, yeah.
You were 1 year old, sir.
So was Harry Potter. Because
Harry.
I learned recently, a few months back, that he's my age. So
okay. Yeah.
Very cool.
Maybe you're the chosen one.
Could be. I mean, I am wearing a Wizards shirt. I don't know if you can see me here.
Yeah.
And of course, I think I'm frozen.
I think you are. That's all right. Yeah. We're going to get through this.
That's absolutely awesome.
The world wasn't meant to see the shirt.
Can you still hear me?
Oh, yeah. We can still hear you.
Yeah.
Well, but Immobilis has been cast on Justin. And while we get that sorted out, Amber, you look very festive here to celebrate Halloween and discussing the Deathly Hallows Part 1. So you look wonderful. Tell us what you're wearing.
I am wearing a super wizard witchy romper. It is a romper. And it's like a teal velvet. It looks more blue, but it's a teal velvet, has bell sleeves, gigantic bell sleeves. It's a romper. It's really fun. And I have my hat, and I have a wand with me, as always. I even have real fun earrings. They're really they're eyeballs.
Oh, cool.
Oh, that's awesome. I love it. I love it. So Immobilis has been lifted from Justin. He's returned. So let's get this party started.
Yeah, so I'm wearing my favorite wizard, which is Michael Jordan when he played for the Wizards. So there we go. Got the jersey going for Halloween. And mostly just because we're talking about wizards. So it only took me 7 podcasts to put that together. So congratulations to me. But hey, before we get Amber and Brittany's thoughts on the Deathly Hallows Part 1, of course, I'm going to hit you with some Deathly Hallows Part 1 facts. The movie was released on November 19th, 2010, with a box office of $977 million. It was the third highest grossing film of 2010, behind Toy Story 3 and Alice in Wonderland, which I'm stunned that movie made more than Deathly Hallows Part 1. I've never seen Alice in Wonderland, at least not that one. Which
the Tim Burton version.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. That's actually
I was a big fan. So
yeah.
I can't believe that made more than Harry Potter, the final Harry Potter movie. I mean, obviously split in 2, but that was stunning. So not only was it the third highest grossing film of 2010, it's also the third highest grossing film of the Harry Potter series. So that's kind of interesting. The budget was $250 million. Now, apparently that was split over the 2 movies, which maybe that's true. I don't know. We talked about this before, how there's a lot of creative accounting with Hollywood as far as what the reported budget is. And I mean, I kind of find it hard to believe that they made 2 movies for $250 when they're usually like $300 for one. But I guess if you're filming at the same time, maybe you can cut some corners or whatever. But anyway, this movie certainly made a profit is what I'm trying to say. Runtime, 2 hours, 26 minutes. It was directed by David Yates. Once again, he directed the final 4 Harry Potter movies and also the Fantastic Beasts trilogy. And the cast, of course, includes Daniel Radcliffe, Rupert Grint, Emma Watson, Bonnie Wright, Helena Bonham Carter, Michael Gambon, Maggie Smith, Robbie Coltrane, Alan Rickman, Tom Felton, Ray Fiennes, Brendan Gleeson, Rhys Ifans, Jason Isaacs, and David Thewlis. Amber, I'm going to go to you first. what are your thoughts on the beginning of the end? Deathly Hallows Part 1.
Well, I actually really liked them. I liked them a lot. I like the movies and the books, like as they get closer and deeper into the story.
Yep.
So I do like this one. Granted, a lot of the camping is kind of it drags a little bit.
Yeah.
But there are bits that I do like, and there are bits that Brittany's probably going to agree with me because it varies from canon. It's going to kind of a little bit irks me. But I mean, overall, we're seeing that this is actually getting into like less of a, school time interspersed with random Voldemort things to, no, this is actually a war. This is affecting the world. This is affecting a lot of people outside of just a high school. So it's interesting.
Brittany, what say you?
So yeah, I mean, the camping bit it gets a little redundant. It is a little dragged out, but to be fair, it's right along with the book. I mean, they are venturing on their own. They're obviously not at Hogwarts, and by they I mean the Golden Trio, of course. So trying to figure out how to hunt for these Horcruxes, let alone destroy them, is a really big focus for Part 1 of the Deathly Hallows, right? Now, I think, Justin, remind me, I'm pretty sure you did say this. The first time you were watching the movie, you kind of said, maybe this movie isn't so needed as compared to Part 2, because Part 2, obviously, it picks up, right? We get into the nitty gritty of it. We get into a lot of action. We actually get into like the war part of the story. But you need to understand how people got to where they are, the fact that there's struggle within the Golden Trio, the fact that, they're having the difficult time hunting these Horcruxes and destroying them. And so they have a lot of growing up to do, right? They have a lot of growing up to do. They have to figure out what really is important to them at this point. And there's some conclusions with regard to like that of the Dursleys. This is the last time, spoiler alert, y'all, this is the last time we're going to see the Dursleys. I know Justin's a big fan of that.
And they're barely seen in this movie. In fact, the son is not even seen. His voice is heard, although I don't think it was actually even the actor who plays the character.
No, it is.
Oh, it is.
It
okay.
Is. Okay. It is.
Because he wasn't credited.
One thing that really irks me, and Amber will know this, is that there is a deleted scene with regards to the departure of the Dursleys where Dudley comes to Harry and says, I don't think, you're a waste of time or a waste of skin or anything like that. Like waste of space. Thank you. I couldn't think of the word. I mean, they kind of like make amends. Mm-hmm. They shake hands, they part as friends, if you will, because as Harry, by the way, that's the actual actor's real name, Harry. As Dudley turns away, Harry says, see you, Big D, which was a callback to Order of the Phoenix. And there's even a very, I think, a really moving scene between Aunt Petunia and Harry, where she's mm-hmm. saying, she's lived in this house for so many years, and in a span of a night, she has to leave everything behind. And Harry's like, they're going to find you. They're going to torture you. They're going to do really bad things to you in order to get to me. And she's like, you don't think I know that? It wasn't you who just lost your family that night in Godric's Hollow. I lost a sister. So in other words, she's trying to say, I relate to you. I do understand the heavy that you carry, but it doesn't excuse her being a bitch to him. I'm sorry. Like that poor child had to suffer because you had feelings about your sister in the wizarding world, et cetera, et cetera. Like, I have feelings, but mm-hmm. I wish they included that scene, that deleted scene in this movie, because I just feel like it carries a lot more and may not change your opinion about the Dursleys. Vernon says nothing to Harry. That's not going to change ever. But yeah, but that is like a sidebar of there is something that's exchanged between Harry and Dudley and Harry and Aunt Petunia. Mm-hmm. Overall, with this movie, there's some really fascinating scenes. I love them going to the Ministry They're using polyjuice potion to try to get a Horcrux from the one and only Dolores Umbridge, whom we all love. But yeah, there's some great scenes in here. I think there's some great one-liners, especially from the twins. But yeah, it's a good movie. It doesn't rank extremely high in my rankings. Spoilers, y'all. We're gonna get to rankings in a couple weeks time, or a few weeks time. So be sure to tune in for that. Yeah. But yeah, so this movie really lays that foundation for that final battle, if you will, Battle of Hogwarts.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it does kind of run on a little too long for my taste, but a lot of it's because there are so many MacGuffins in this movie. I mean, just there's the Horcruxes, and then there's the things that the gifts that Dumbledore gave to the Golden Trio, and then you have that chase, and it's just there's all kinds of things. Obviously the Deathly Hallows themselves, like the three items or whatever, the three powers that have to come together. There's a lot of stuff to explain, a lot of stuff to get through. So I understand why this movie was, split into two, but I feel like they could have kind of hurried it along. And then there's certain things there's certain things in the movie where I think it's kind of strange. Like the love story between Harry and Ginny is like pretty non-existent. There's like one scene where they
it's just kind of like tossed in there randomly.
To me, it's like I don't really understand why that was really needed. I guess because that was like Ginny's one scene, right? Like, was she in the movie at all besides that scene? There's just
just in that first part of the movie, really. I think that scene was solely needed just for George Weasley to come in, stick a toothbrush in his ear because he's holy now, y'all, and say morning. One of my favorite lines in this whole damn movie. It's just so good. It's so random. It's just like,
and Harry's awkwardness afterwards too, as he's like slowly backing away. It's funny, but I think it was needed only just because we do know that Harry ends up with Ginny. So I kind of feel like people would have forgotten about that because of the lackluster representation it's had in the past. So I feel like they kind of needed it just so that casual viewers weren't like, who's this random chick that Harry's with? And it,
but she comes off that way. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. She does mean to she does come off that way to mean. Granted, I know what happens in the final movie, but it's almost like, I mean, the love triangle between the Golden Trio, which it's not a love triangle, but if you he has more kind of emotional
chemistry
attachment, with Hermione, and even in this movie, and then it's their play off against each other with Ron, because Ron is jealous when he has the locket on him, and he has the dark locket, and he sees them together in this Vision. And to me, that stuff is to me, it's kind of confusing. And I don't feel like adding Ginny, it didn't really, it gave you Ginny is Harry's girl, but we're only going to see her for 2 minutes. Yeah.
Only to service for the very fact that book Ginny is a lot better than movie Ginny, and the fact that they have a stronger relationship in the books than they do in the movie. For whatever reason, the writers and producers decided to kind of play up this whole, Harry and Hermione have
I know the reason.
Go for it, please, because I don't think I know this reason. Is it
fan service?
Shipped. That's right. I forgot about that.
The screenwriter, the script writers actually they shipped Harry and Hermione. They didn't really like Ron, and they've never liked Ron, to be honest. Considering they gave all of his great lines away and kind of just watered down his character a lot. But that was shown throughout the camping scene, when Ron was out of the picture for a little bit. I know a lot of people like the whole dancing scene. I hate it. I even hate the song. I get instantly annoyed when I hear that song, just because I just don't like it. It's so awkward and uncomfortable. There are many ways that you could have shown that Harry is trying to be supportive of her, in that time.
It's just really awkward.
Yeah, then awkwardly dancing. Like there's so many ways they could have done that, but they were trying too hard to smush them together.
And then it's like she rejects him ultimately. It's like, oh well, that's great. Like he tries to cheer you up, and you're just like, bye. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The first time I watched these movies, I thought Harry and Hermione were meant to be together. I thought that's what they were trying to like.
Low key, I wanted them to as well.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I mean,
they got a cute ship name, so.
Yeah.
What's the ship name?
Harmony.
Harmony. Okay, there we go. Yeah.
I'm still all for Hermione, so.
Hey, yeah,
we're all for Draco and Hermione, y'all.
Or it could be like Harry, like to
Harry.
Dreary.
Harry.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, moving on.
I mean, the Draco and Harry is dreary. So
dreary, yeah. It's a thing. We're not going to go into that. Going back to the movie.
Yeah, all these ships have sailed, right? So
yeah, it's been like what 20 years.
Let's get back to the stuff. So usually I like to bring up like the additions to the cast. And we'll go through them, but like I don't feel like any of these characters are like major characters, but just kind of get y'all's overall thoughts on the group as a whole. First off, like in one of the first scenes of the movie, we see Hermione's mom is played by the actress who played Catelyn Stark on Game of Thrones, Michelle Fairley. Sorry.
Yeah.
So I noticed that like right away. I was like, oh, okay. Because the first time I watched this, I didn't notice that. And that was definitely like in my, we were watching Game of Thrones at that time. So I must have totally missed it. But does she ever, is she in the finale, in the final movie?
No. Wow. This is the only time you will see Hermione's parents.
Okay.
And what she does is basically kind of sacrifice, but not in a negative sense. Yeah. She makes sure that her parents are safe by wiping their memory and sending them off to Australia. That way, they're protected and she can go on, fight this battle. Because she, in wizarding law, 17 is a legal age or adult age. And so she can use her magic now freely without any consequences. And that's what she does to protect her family. And yeah, this is the only time that you will ever get to see her family. Because leading up to this point, you kind of saw them from a distance. But this is it. This is what we also don't know because they never really discussed it in the book that she planned to summon, hopefully if they survived, that she was going to go to Australia and like restore their memories. But that's a very tricky process, and we don't know if she ever did or succeeded. We have zero clue. So there's a lot of fan fiction written about it too. Headcanons and things are written about Hermione just trying to go back to her family or not succeeding or succeeding. And it's kind of tragic. I saw a fan theory because while we're on the topic, just a brief, I saw a fan theory one time, but because of the trace that's on underage wizards, it doesn't make sense. That's like the only thing I could think of that discredits this. But somebody was saying that they think that Hermione may have wiped her parents' memories as early as Goblet of Fire. Because every other summer after that, she spends it with the Weasleys. I can consider
she spends it with the Weasleys. She doesn't go and Christmases and holidays and stuff like that. She spends it either at Hogwarts or with the Weasleys. She doesn't go back to her family. So after Goblet of Fire, and a lot of people, so it's like the theory that person had posted, I wish I still had that post, was saying that because she saw how the Death Eaters were treating the Muggles at the Quidditch World Cup, torturing them, making them float upside down and stuff like that. Like, she knew the dangers that would be in her parents. Like, she's like, oh, because I'm in the wizarding world, my parents are a danger. So there was like a theory that she did this many, many years ahead of time. But the only thing I can think of to go against it is the trace. But I thought it was interesting to think about and sad.
It is either way. I mean, the idea that you have to like potentially say goodbye to your parents and never see them again, never find them again, never potentially be able to restore their memories. I mean, she's brilliant in her own right, so it's likely she's successful. But, you know, that being said, to go back to your question, Justin, nope, this is the only time we get to see Mr. and Mrs. Granger up close. And I do love the personal touch of all the photos that are, you know, being erased of little Hermione Granger, which are real photos of Emma Watson. She had called up her dad to say, like, hey, can you send photos of like different ages, and we're going to use them in the movie. And, you know, that's legit. So I thought that was kind of a cool touch.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a sad moment at the beginning when she's doing that, when she's erasing her memories or her images from photos. So continuing on with the new additions, the additions to the cast, you have Rhys Ifans as Xenophilius Lovegood. He's the eccentric father of Luna. Now I know Rhys Ifans from, obviously he was the Lizard in the Amazing Spider-Man movie, and then of course he was in House of the Dragon. Amber, start with you. What did you think about him in this role? It's I mean, it's a brief, you know, he has like a handful of scenes, but what did you think about Rhys Ifans as
I like the Lovegoods. I like the Lovegoods as a whole, so I like Xenophilius. I mean, you feel bad for him. I mean, there's a part of you that's kind of wants to agree with Ron, but it's like that when he kind of, you know, gave them away to the Death Eaters, but called on the Jinx. But you feel bad for him because he lost his wife. The only person he has in his life is his daughter, and we can kind of assume he's not that popular of a man either, because he does have the Quibbler, but like people make fun of Luna because of her dad writing the Quibbler. Like he's not a popular man, and the only thing he has in his life is his daughter, and she was taken from him. And you can't blame the guy for doing anything he can to try and get her back. So I mean, I feel a little bit bad for him. I do think it was very interesting to see his like nervousness, and I just liked him as a character. I think he did well portraying him, and I have seen him in both of those other movies too, but of course this is what I know him from.
Brittany, what'd you think about him?
So I've seen Rhys in a couple of other movies, one with Reese Witherspoon, Vanity Fair, which is a great movie. If y'all haven't checked it out, go check it out. It's a great movie. But with casting Rhys as Xenophilius, it's kind of, he's not quite eccentric. I mean, he kind of gives off the vibes of being very eccentric. I mean, you see him with Luna at Bill and Fleur's wedding, which is beautifully done. I wanted to have my wedding like that, but, you know, someone didn't let me have that. It's fine. Not bitter at all 8 years later. But, you know, when we see him dancing with his daughter, it's really cute because they're over here kind of like fluttering around and, you know, twirling in circles. And he says that because Luna has been bitten by a garden gnome, it's good luck, you know, to be bitten up by garden. Who says things like that, right? Like, it's kind of nutty. You kind of get that understanding of why Luna is how she is, right? But we love them nonetheless. However, Xenophilius may not have a lot of scenes in this movie, but he has a very important role to play with regards to discussing the Deathly Hallows. Because while Ron and Hermione are aware of the story, The Tale of the Three Brothers, Harry doesn't know anything about it. He didn't grow up in the wizarding world. You know, these are bedtime stories or children's books that he has no knowledge of, right? So we as the audience get to experience that storytelling, and I absolutely love the scene or the whole sequence of the Tale of the Three Brothers, and how Xenophilius really visually breaks it down about the Elder Wand is a straight line, the Resurrection Stone is a circle going, you know, intersecting with the straight line, and then the triangle is the invisibility cloak, which the three symbols create the Deathly Hallows. There you go, Amber. Look at her. She's doing the thing.
So, I can't do the triangle.
But anyway, it's a thing where it's pivotal to understand the meaning behind the Deathly Hallows. So yeah, he is just that vehicle that drives that point. So Amber, what do you think about that sequence when it comes down to discussing or hearing the tale of the tale of the three brothers?
It's honestly one of my favorite things in the whole series. I love the story of it. I have the little booklet of Tales of Beetle the Bard, and I read them all through. I just really, really like all the cute little the animations that they did to show all of it was beautiful. Emma Watson's narrating, or Hermione's narrating, reading the story, so great. I just really, and I mean, I love stories, folklore, myths, and legends. Like, I love stories in any way, shape, or form. So the fact that we are getting basically a folklore thing from the wizarding world was really cool.
Yeah.
I liked it.
Yeah, and it was really cool, just like with the visualization of the sequence. It was really cool, and I often liken to what we get in the Lego Harry Potter game. I don't know if you've played it, but I've played it, and it's just so well done, and to get that understanding. By the way, Emma Watson narrating the story, I think, is perfect. She just paces it so well, and I don't know, it just works really, really well. But with the explanation, of course, of the Deathly Hallows, that one who possesses all three items is basically the master of death, because death is the one who gifted these items to the three brothers, and these three brothers are very significant to the story of even Harry. That we find out that the Peverell brothers are, rumored to be the brothers that the story was based off of, right? And I wish let's see if we can get Justin back here in the chat. So Justin, I swear, Nargles are messing with you or something. I don't know.
You gotta stop apparating, man.
Not going my way today. That's for sure. And of course, I come back and there's sirens on my end, so I'll let y'all talk a little bit while it fades.
Well, Justin, what I was going to explain, and I, just to listen in on it, with the Peverell brothers. This is a name that Harry and Hermione discover in the cemetery, and of course, that's that scene in Godric's Hollow, the cemetery, everything that happens thereafter is pretty instrumental in the story. But the Peverell brothers actually are related to Harry through
Voldemort.
And Voldemort. Yeah, you're right. So one brother, is a descendant to Voldemort. The other, another brother, is descendant to Harry. And so understanding who the Peverells are, that the Deathly Hallows is supposed to be based off their lives. Tale of Three Brothers is, based off their lives as well, is really fascinating to me, because Harry is just having to discover all of this, at once, and therefore, hopefully, if he or someone can possess any one of these Hallows, maybe you can, defeat Voldemort. And if you possess all three, you're the master of death. So it's a really interesting notion.
And for anyone who wants to obsess over the details like I do, Antioch Peverell is the brother that had the Elder Wand. Cadmus Peverell is the Resurrection Stone, and Ignotus Peverell is the Invisibility Cloak. Cadmus Peverell's the middle brother, the Resurrection Stone. His family line becomes the Voldemort because of the riddles. Well, not the riddles, the Gaunts. But we're not getting into Voldemort's family tree right now. Voldemort is from the Cadmus line. Harry is from Ignotus's line.
Yes. So it's interesting. I mean, you wouldn't really know this until you like deep dive like into the books, you deep dive into like the lore of it all. But it is quite fascinating. So I also want to give a quick shout out to Yesenia here in the chat. She says, Happy Halloween. Happy Halloween. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate you being here. I think earlier talking about Reese Ifans, she says she saw Five Nights at Freddy's kids movie, not scary. So that's cool.
And,
never seen it.
I work for Scholastic, and it's a Scholastic book. It's like they're like graphic novels. They're for like a little bit older kids, like older elementary. But yeah, it's not scary.
Okay. All right.
I mean, it could be, very well could be, but it's like maybe a little bit older than Goosebumps, like genre-wise. But yeah, the Five Nights at Freddy's movie was very, very much anticipated, and I've heard great things. But it's not that scary.
It's also on Peacock right now. It's in the theaters, but it's also on Peacock. Yeah.
Yep.
Have you watched it?
I haven't yet.
Okay.
No.
Sorry, I'm kind of lagging also over here too, so it's just going really well. So.
No, I haven't yet, but my coworkers are bugging me about it.
Goodness. So I know Justin earlier was talking about like the new additions to this movie. Another one happens to be a relative of a character or of an actor who plays a character that we've previously met. Brendan Gleeson's son, who I can't pronounce his name to save my life because it's a very Irish name.
Domhnall Gleeson. Yeah.
Domhnall Gleeson. Cool. We'll go with that. I apologize if I'm butchering it, but he plays the ever absent Bill Weasley up until this movie, which by the way, not at all like in the books. We do meet Bill early on in Goblet of Fire. That's how Fleur and Bill meet, FYI people. It's not just some rando like, hey, look at you, I'm gonna marry you kind of thing. But yeah, Bill Bill Weasley comes into the mix. He's also a werewolf, thanks to Fenrir Greyback. Fuck that guy. But yeah, he is another Weasley, and I love the fact that he got to be in this movie with his dad, because R.I.P. to Mad Eye Moody. Like from the get-go. Crazy.
Sad.
A little bit.
It's just anyway, sad though, because we never really got to know him. So I'm just sad that we didn't really get to know Mad Eye, because the most that we see of him, it's not really Mad Eye Moody, you know? And it's Barty Crouch Jr. So it's just kind of
Junior.
I love David Tennant though.
Who doesn't? Yeah, no, you're right. Although the commitment to being Mad Eye Moody for a whole year at Hogwarts, bravo to Barty Crouch Jr. Yeah, no, so that's another character that's new for this movie. This isn't the last that we'll get to see of Domhnall Gleeson, of course. He will reappear in part 2. Sad that his wedding got crashed though. That sucks. Like, you get married, it's a happy day. Who decides to get married on Harry Potter's freaking birthday? Like, you know.
My brother.
Very well. That's fine. But yeah, I mean, that was pretty sad. Who else, Justin, is introduced in this movie?
I mean, the thing about this movie is the additions to the cast kind of also carry over into we lose characters also, but like we have Bill Nighy, is that how you pronounce his name? As Rufus Scrimgeour. Okay. You have Caroline Pickles as Charity Burbage, which we see her briefly at the very beginning.
She gone.
Yeah, she gets tortured and killed by Voldemort via the snake Nagini. And
that wasn't traumatizing at all.
None whatsoever.
And then we have David Rawle as Elphius Dodge or Doge.
Elphius Doge.
Doge, okay.
Yeah.
So that's that. Like I said, again, these are not like major characters in the story. Is there anything you'll want to point out from those characters I just mentioned? Anything you want to highlight or?
I mean, really, the only thing with Elphias Doge, along with Ron's aunt, who was there at the wedding talking to Harry, they're kind of spilling all the tea about Albus Dumbledore and making Harry feel like, wow, I really didn't know this man at all. Like, he left me stuff from his will, but like, I don't know anything about this man. I didn't know that he had a brother. I didn't know that he grew up in Godric's Hollow, which is where Harry was born. His parents were killed. He just really realizes, like, I didn't know the man who sent me on this hunt for Horcruxes. Like, how would that make you feel?
Horrible.
Not to mention, let's be real, and we'll discuss this more in part 2 once like the big secret's revealed. Albus Dumbledore raised Harry to be a pig for slaughter. That's it. That's all I'm going to say. Moving on. Yeah. So, I mean, these characters not every single one of them really carry like a very heavy importance,
right,
other than Scrimgeour just like giving the last will and testament rights to the trio. Charity Burbage is pretty much there to be like this vehicle of like, you're of our kind, the wizard kind, but you teach Muggle studies, and we're going to make an example out of you. Boom, you're dead, kind of thing. So it's snake food, right? And and with that too taking place inside Malfoy Manor, Snape is obviously working with the Dark Lord and company, and he's revealing all the secrets about what's happening with Harry Potter. Like, he's playing his role well, right? He's a double agent, if you will. And he shows absolutely no emotion with Charity's murder. It's crazy, like, how well he plays his part.
Yeah, when she's begging him, she's like, please, you're friends. Like, it's heartbreaking. And also even for Draco too, because Draco had to watch, like, granted, I bet anyone that Draco did not take Muggle studies, but it's still a teacher. He still knew that woman for like 7 years. So
right,
it's still kind of like, that's a teacher, somebody who he's always seen as harmless, and now she's gone. So it's just, and we don't really see Snape. That's the only time we really see Snape this movie.
Yeah, pretty much. He has a much bigger role to play in part 2. But also consider that Snape himself is a half-blood. Voldemort is a half-blood. You have the Malfoy family, who are pure-blood family. I can't tell you about the rest of the Death Eaters, whether they're half-blood, pure-blood, Muggle-born, what have you. It's just really curious that you have a mixture of people who are following this person who has these ideologies of, our race is the more superior, and we're going to do whatever it takes in order to take over and whatnot. But then you look at how Lucius Malfoy reacts with Voldemort when he asks him for his wand, because Harry's wand and Voldemort's wand, they have the same core. Amber, of course, can give you great detail about that, y'all. If you haven't done so already, be sure to follow her YouTube account and her Instagram account. Descriptions down below. But like, Lucius is terrified of the Dark Lord. It's just really fascinating to me that, he had been in Azkaban for a period of time, and, he's back with his family at his home. He's playing host to Voldemort and company. And he's just like, oh shit, I have to give up my wand so you can do your dirty work and kill Harry Potter with my wand. Crazy. Crazy.
And just
go ahead.
That whole sorry, I was just gonna say, like, that whole scene too of like Voldemort taking the wand, and then like Lucius is like flinch when he snaps off the decorative handle. Ooh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's a lot of wand talk in this movie. And I'm glad that Amber, I'm always glad that Amber joins us, but because she's awesome, but especially in this movie, there's so much about the wands, and I just want to get your thoughts on, okay, so we learned that, or I learned that, like Brittany said before, Voldemort can't use his wand against Harry because the wands are basically like brothers and they share the same wand core. Amber, I just want to get your thoughts on that part of it, like how deep in the wand world. I know obviously you are very deep into that, but can you explain the wand core thing to a layman such as myself? I think she's frozen.
I think Immobulus has been cast on Amber. Let's y'all are just taking turns today. My goodness.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Not working out.
Not working out. No. So I just know from what little I do know about wands and wand lore. And like I said, y'all go check out Amber's YouTube channel. She has a fantastic channel that is a discussion of the study in wand lore of, the wizarding world. And I know that she's talked about Harry's wand. I believe she has Voldemort's wand. I could be wrong. Don't remember. She'll have to come back and tell us. But because the core, which in this case is a phoenix feather, the phoenix feather that is the core to Voldemort's wand is the same phoenix that gave to Harry's wand. Fun fact, it's also Fawkes, the phoenix that we've seen in the movies. It was Dumbledore's phoenix that willingly gave feathers to be, crafted into wands, or serve as a wand core. So yeah, I mean, it's like they're the three of them, Voldemort, Dumbledore, Harry. It's like destiny, right? They're always meant to be together. So, and you can even interpret each one to be part of a hallow, if you will. I'm just going to throw that out there. So, but because the fact that it's the feathers came from the same creature, they can't really fight one another. They can maybe harm one another, maybe they can injure one another, but they actually can't kill one another.
Okay.
For whatever magical reason there may be. Which again, I know Amber can go into greater detail about that, but that's the reason, or at least in Voldemort's belief, because remember in the previous movie, Half-Blood Prince, OllivAmber, who is the wand maker, was kidnapped from his shop. And that's kind of like the last that you hear about him. You don't know what happened to him. You just know that he was taken by the Death Eaters. But it's here in this movie that we see that he is in the basement or in the cellar of Malfoy Manor. He's been a prisoner there for a period of time, probably closer to a year, if not more. And it's through OllivAmber that we get this information about the theory of using a different wand may help get you to defeat Harry Potter. But, it's all theory at this point. So let's see if we can welcome Amber back into the podcast. Amber, are you with us? Looks like looks like we're getting there. So let's see if she can get that worked out. So Justin, what else do you want to touch on?
Well, there's a lot of wand talk. Obviously, you have Hermione's, her spell destroys Harry's wand later on in the movie. So we have that wand incident. We learn about the Elder Wand, which is the most powerful wand of all.
Yep.
We see a vision where Harry sees the Dark Wizard, Gellert Grindelwald, telling Voldemort that the Elder Wand is buried with Dumbledore. And then, of course, we have I think it's a pretty epic ending to the movie. We have Voldemort, retrieving the Elder Wand from Dumbledore's tomb and then lighting up the sky with the wand. I thought that was a great way to end the movie. I really think that's maybe the best ending of the movie so far. I think is that ending. So
I think I'd have to agree. Yeah, it's a pretty good cliffhanger because it's kind of like, oh, shit's about to go down. I mean, yeah, you have the most powerful wand that's ever existed.
Right.
And it was in the hands of your nemesis, Dumbledore, who was
Right.
buried with him. You took it from him. What are you going to do with it?
It is very much, or kind of similar to like Thanos getting all the Infinity Stones.
Yeah.
And, of course, Thanos from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But and much like I've talked about on the previous episodes of this series we've done on the Harry Potter movies, is you kind of slowly we see Voldemort being built up and more and more and more, and now this is like the final, like he has the most powerful wand that's ever existed. So now he's even more of a tougher foe for Harry and company to kind of overtake. So I think the movie has a strong ending, and there's so much wand stuff to talk about, which hopefully Amber can rejoin us and can share all her wand knowledge.
Yeah, if she's able to rejoin, we can circle back to discussing more about wands. So, but there are other things that have gone on in this movie that we can definitely touch on. And you mentioned about Hermione and her spell that rebounded and destroyed Harry's wand, which is actually a really sad moment. But her use of a spell to expand her bag, her little beaded bag, when they escape the wedding, and it's a undetectable expansion charm, right? So she could just load that shit up and like Mary Poppin her way, with everything. I mean, let's be real. It's pretty cool. So, Amber, are you back with us? Hopefully. We see you.
We see you.
Yes, I hope so.
Can't hear you just yet. Yay!
Yeah, we see your happy smiley face. Yep.
I think she's lagging just a little bit though.
Yeah.
So
she'll get it worked out. She'll get it worked out.
We'll get it. Cast those spells, Amber. Cast those spells.
But use your wand. She has a magic wand. Yeah.
Yeah. So her Hermione being able to like just pack up everything and just like she's been prepared. Like you got to give it to her. Ron was right when Harry was trying to take off on his own in the middle of the night without them. Ron's like, we wouldn't last 2 days without Hermione. Yeah. You're damn right you wouldn't, fool. Like between you and Harry, y'all can't make half a brain, okay? Like you need Hermione to do all the thinking. She's amazing. Yeah. What did you think about their little encounter in the cafe in London? I mean, they're in non-magical territory at this point, right? The trace is off Harry. He can be located. Moody said a great line about, if you sneezed, Ministry of Magic would know who wiped your nose. That's basically the equivalency of the trace, which I think is hilarious. So, what do you think of that little battle scene?
Yeah, I enjoyed the coffee shop scene because, as I mentioned in one of the previous movies, I like to see them in like current day, London or wherever they are. Like I like to see the magic, take place away from Hogwarts, and I thought it was kind of cool to see that in this scene and to see they're fighting off the Snatchers, correct?
Yes, yes. One of which Ron recognizes, and he kind of goes a little dark.
Yeah.
At one point, it's a little concerning for Ron to suggest, we should finish him off before they finished us off. You know what I'm saying? And it's a little dark. Let's see if we can get Amber's thoughts on this scene if she's able to connect and share with us. So, or not, that's fine. But yeah, it's kind of like that first real realization, I think, for the trio that like, we're really putting ourselves out there. We're really in harm's way. And so the idea of going to Sirius Black's old house, which you don't get this in the movies, of course, but as the godson, Harry inherited everything in number 12 Grimmauld Place. So the property, Creature, which is the house elf that really hates the trio, if you will. It was smart for them to, leave and find a safe place to go to.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm getting a message over here. So Creature, what do you think about Creature as a character, Justin? Could we get a little bit more of him in this movie than in the previous?
It's Creature with a K. by the way, Brittany. So just so you know.
Yes.
I was happy to see Dobby return, and because like obviously Creature's like the dark elf, right? Whereas Dobby is the friendly, happy-go-lucky Harry Potter's friend, which obviously Dobby, very sad ending for him. He comes in to make the save and is stabbed and he dies, and it's very, very sad. I gotta say, it's we lost Hedwig also. Like, I'm just like, wow, they're just killing off characters left and right in this in part one. But back to Dobby, he's like dying in Harry's arms. He says Dobby is happy to be with his friend Harry Potter, and then Harry decides to bury him properly without magic. So, pretty touching stuff. I enjoyed seeing him. As far as Creature, I didn't have a ton of thoughts on him. I mean, he was only in the movie for, 2 minutes or so. So
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Short run for Creature. Yeah.
No kidding. Yeah. Echoing Yesenia here in the chat. R.I.P. R.I.P. to Dobby. R.I.P. to Hedwig. It absolutely destroyed me while reading the book when Hedwig died. Now, it's a little bit different in the book than it is in the movie. I think it was far more dramatic in the movie. She's in mid-flight, of course. She's trying to protect Harry. Boom, she gets hit with the killing curse and just, falls. I think it's a little bit more tragic in the book, where she's riding with Harry in the magical motorcycle. She's in her cage, and the killing curse like hits her instead of hitting Harry, and she just kind of like drops in the cage. Yeah, it's really horrible. And the reason that JKR did this was to kind of symbolize the death of Harry's childhood, the death of his innocence, if you will. This is the big leagues at this point. You're no longer a kid. You're an adult now, and you have to deal with adult shit in the wizarding world. So, it destroyed me with Hedwig, because she was always his friend, and now having a pet. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Something or someone ever did anything to my dog.
Yeah. I mean,
you best believe.
Wouldn't you use some kind of protective spell over Hedwig, or in your case, Luna, your dog? Like, I mean, I would think, being a wizard, you would, use the insane abilities that you have, the extraordinary abilities that you have to protect the ones you care about and love.
In my case, it's going to be street knowledge. Interpret that as you will. We're going to see about inviting Amber back into the
Am I here?
pod. Yay!
She's here.
She's here.
Oh my gosh. 7 billionth times to try.
Yeah.
Hey,
but you never give
everyone.
up. No, we appreciate your effort to stick with us.
No worries.
Amber, we have a lot of wand stuff to talk about, and you're the only person who can really, truly explain.
I tried.
The wand. No, Brittany did a good job.
I know you're working up to it right when my computer died and everything was going on. So I was just like, no.
Let's talk wands.
I would love to, but I need to start and stop point.
So, in layman's terms, going back to why Voldemort couldn't use his wand against Harry, and the fact that both their wands have the same core from the same phoenix, which I filled in, Justin. It's Fox. It was Dumbledore's phoenix. So explain to us in layman's terms why the two wands couldn't work against each other based on their cores.
I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that what we don't really know for certain, other than the hand wavy excuse of their brother wands, so they won't hurt each other. But what I like to interpret it as is the fact that Phoenix cores specifically are insanely loyal. They're very loyal. They are very dedicated. Not so much as unicorns, where unicorn cores will literally die if they are separated from their owner. I don't want to get into the unicorns, of course, but Phoenix cores are still they're very, very loyal. Like they are one of the more loyal ones. And I think it's more the fact that they do come from the same core and the same core from the same exact phoenix. I think it's more just the phoenix doesn't want the core of the feathers know that they are from the same phoenix. So they're just like, we're not going to, like, why would I hurt this thing that's also part of me? That's like, my other half, like the other half of me. Why would I hurt them? And because wands are semi-sentient. You kind of have to think about it like that the wands are their own little personalities themselves. So it's very much just the wands not working against each other, not wanting to, but also they can't.
Right.
It's not just that they won't, it's that they physically can't. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that they are from a phoenix. Like, I'm pretty sure dragon heartstrings from 2 dragon heartstring cores from the same dragon, dragon heartstrings are not as loyal because dragons are vicious. And I'm sure, I personally am a dragon heartstring, so it's like I think that they would still fight against each other. We don't have any instances of unicorn hair cores sharing the same unicorn and having this problem, but again, a lot of it has to do with, the illusion of fate.
Right. And so with that being said, Voldemort tries to use Lucius Malfoy's wand to try and attack Harry, right? Unsuccessful.
Yes.
But then he acquires the Elder Wand. So without divulging too much about the Elder Wand, because I do want people to go to your channel and like check that out. Yeah, seriously, y'all, go follow her. She's got a great channel. Will Voldemort be successful in using the Elder Wand? Because it wasn't chosen. It didn't choose him.
Short answer, no.
But it leaves a lasting impression of how he gets it, right? We were talking about this while you were absent. It's a pretty epic ending with the use of the Elder Wand shooting lightning up into the sky.
Yes. It's I plan to do an entire history of the Elder Wand itself, because I have done wand analysis on my channel of Voldemort and of Harry and Dumbledore, and Grindelwald. And those are all holders of the wand, and even Draco, who is technically a holder, even though he didn't really
spoiler.
He didn't know. Because of all of that, I've done all of them, but I very, very lightly touch on the Elder Wand because I plan to do an entire thing. Because we do have like a list of all of the older, the previous owners of the Elder Wand before Grigorovich, like how it goes from Antioch Peveril to Grigorovich. Like, we do see other wizards throughout time who have had it. I plan to do like an entire thing just of that wand someday, but the wand itself needs to be one, and not just and whether that can be one via killing the current owner, or just disarming, or physically tackling it out of their hands. It doesn't matter to the wand. The wand is very much just like, you need to be one from me. You can't just take it from a dead body.
Buy me dinner and take me. No.
Yeah, this one has taste. This one has standards.
Okay.
So
I love that death stick.
So speaking of just wands in general, in this movie, we obviously saw, as we mentioned before, Voldemort takes Lucius's wand and like kind of damages it. We see Harry Potter's wand get damaged, and then at the end we see Voldemort take the Elder Wand.
Obliterated. What are you talking about?
Okay, well, sorry,
it's destroyed.
So my question is, Amber, as a wonderful person, but as a person who, you're like a wand expert. Did you feel hurt by this movie? Like, because the wands are definitely like mistreated.
Yeah. Very much so.
Short answer, yes.
Yeah. It's just I knew about the Holly wand breaking, obviously, because I've seen this movie and I read the book. we know. It just still hurts my whole heart a little bit. Learning about the Elder Wand too, we get so much more information about it in the books, and this wand has had a life. This wand is a seasoned veteran. I have so much to say about that wand. So it's like I knew that it was leading up to to my favorite little death stick, but my wand is holly, like Harry's, so I kind of have like that personal little like I love Harry's wand because it's holly and like me. And I was very, very sad. It wasn't Hermione's fault. It was just the curse rebounding. Yeah. But what is interesting too is that, you know, Harry and Hermione do have to share her wand for a bit, and her wand is Dragon Heartstring. So that one does not have much of allegiance to anybody. It kind of just does whatever the hell it wants. So, as dragons are wont to do. So, I think it's kind of interesting that out of all of the wands, out of the trio, that ended up being the last one standing, I guess, it had to be Hermione's, because it's the only one that all of them could be able to use, because they wouldn't be able to use Ron's either because this is a unicorn.
But Harry is able to use the Snatcher's wand, not knowing any information about it. But the one funny scene, as a result, you know, Hermione has made like these little flames in jars, you know, and Harry kind of tests out the new wand to see how well it works. And when he says Engorgio, I mean, that flame just burst through, and, you know, Reducto, and it's like what's going on there? Nothing, not setting the tent on fire, nothing. That
was a great scene, honestly. It always makes me laugh. Personally, I think it's a Dragon Heartstring wand, but that's going off of the knowledge of what else it is. There's a few woods that are known for pyrotechnics and flamboyant displays of magic like that.
I feel like it should be Seamus Finnegan's wand then.
Boom. Good point. Good point. But isn't he at school?
Yeah. Whatever. It's fine.
Yeah, but we know that they're not allowed to use magic at this time. So we're not talking about that. That's next movie.
Sorry, getting ahead of myself.
No. Yeah, this movie was a little hard for me with all the wand stuff, but it gives me a lot of stuff to talk about with the wand, which is great. It's leading into we're getting snippets of the history of the Elder Wand, and then also the fact that Ollivander was one of the people that were in Malfoy Manor. Yep. And we see it through many times that he was not just because he was kidnapped in the last movie.
Right.
He's been captive this whole time.
Yeah. And I mentioned that to Justin while you were away. That it's based on the theory or knowledge that Ollivander gave to Voldemort. That's why Voldemort wanted to use someone else's wand to see if it would work against Harry, and it was not quite successful.
Yeah, and we do see like a snippet of of Ollivander begging Voldemort, like, I thought it would work. I'm sorry, like, I thought it would work. Right. Weird that he would thought it would work, because
I mean, but did he really believe that, or he's just like giving the Dark Lord what he maybe wants to hear?
Yeah. True.
It's like survival mode activated.
Yeah, and we do find out that it is with Grigorovich, another wand maker. Grigorovich and Ollivander are the two like prominent wand makers in Europe. Yep. Victor Crum's wand was and most of the other Grindelwald's wand were all made by Grigorovich. They kind of have like a little bit of a rivalry in the fact that they are, my wands are better than your wands, whatever. Grigorovich uses other kinds of cores, which is interesting. Ollivander is one of the few wand makers that I know of in the world that only uses strictly 3 wands cores. Grigorovich uses whatever he wants. I just think it's interesting, but we do see we don't see Grigorovich here, but we do like hear of him, and then we see Grindelwald, who was the previous owner before Voldemort of the Elder Wand. So there's a reason for Grindelwald. I kind of wish that they gave him a little bit more, considering that they eventually made the Fantastic Beasts movies, where Grindelwald is a key point character.
Yeah,
and we're probably not going to get any more than what we got.
No, not at all. But yeah, this movie was very, very interesting. The next movie, they'll go more into the, I guess, the details and the nitty gritty of how wands work. Because OllivAmber does have a very interesting conversation with Harry and the trio about wands.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does.
Yes.
So my final wand question for Amber is, so we see at the very end that Voldemort has retrieved the Elder Wand from Dumbledore's tomb, which you just said he found out from Grindelwald where it was. Do you remember like the first time you saw the movie? Like what did you think about him getting the wand, and that's the way the movie ended?
I thought it was a perfect way to end it since they were doing the 2-parter. How we were saying earlier, like how this movie kind of dragged on. I don't think it should have been 2 hours long. They could have shortened it a little bit, but I liked that very powerful ending, and I feel like it was just, like. Well, granted, we know I think at this point, any listeners know that Brittany and I do not like Dumbledore. No gentle feelings there, but we none.
Zero.
But as like a casual viewer, or even a casual reader, you're kind of brought into, this is a character that we love. This is a character we're talking about, and we're just now, along with Harry, realizing he wasn't all sparkles and rainbows. He had secrets. He wasn't as, like, Harry wasn't as close to him, and therefore we, because it's, Harry's the main narrator, we were not as close to Dumbledore as we thought we were. So, but we were taught that this is a man that we loved. This is a man that we cared for and respected, idolized, really. And seeing his grave defiled is, it's an emotional hit. It hurts, and especially by Voldemort, because it kind of just feels like you already killed the guy. This is like a new level. Yeah, like what more? What new level of low do you have to hit that you're grave defiling now? Though that's not new for Voldemort, because he did have to like defile his dad's grave to get the bone of the father.
Oh yeah,
kind of his thing, right?
It's kind of his thing. Yeah, he's into it. He's into it. No, but even the look that he has, as he's retrieving the wand, he's hovering over Albus Dumbledore's corpse, and he's got the wand in both hands. It's on his chest, and he just like with this hand, and I love kind of like the elegance of him just kind of twisting his hand and then pulling out the wand, and he's got like this menacing smile, like, haha, bitch, I got your wand now. Like, it's crazy. It's such great acting on Ralph Fiennes' part, of course, because that to me is exactly what Voldemort would have done in the sense of defiling someone's grave and like taking what isn't his to claim for his own. And now he thinks, I have the most powerful wand in the universe. Like, I am going to rule, and I'm going to destroy this 17-year-old kid that's been a thorn in my side since before he was born, basically. And it's just, it's crazy. It's just so crazy.
And you have to also think about what Voldemort was thinking while this is happening, because this is, this wand, I'm not just being funny. Like, this wand is literally called the Death Stick. It is, like, it has many, many names, but Elder Wand has, and Elder itself, like the wood itself, has a lot of connotations in relations to death. They were elder branches were put with bodies and during funerals. So elder trees grew from those branches, nurtured by the dead bodies decomposing, and so cemeteries are very, very popular to have elder trees there. And also, pretty much the entire tree is poisonous. So like really poisonous, very, very much so. So that's awesome. They're very common in cemeteries, and they're very, very, very poisonous. So like the fact that the wood itself has so much connotations with death. So the fact that he is taking the death stick from the dead body of his enemy, like that's just, you got to think about how he was thinking. He's thinking, he's like, I'm so close to winning. Like, ugh.
Yeah.
Interesting to think about. But it's also it's very expected that that Dumbledore, like the second that Grindelwald said that it was with him, like that's very, very common. It's a wizarding tradition that wizards are buried with their wands. So that's pretty normal. So it's kind of, the wand wouldn't have gone to a family member or anyone else. It definitely would have been buried with Dumbledore. So he knew exactly where it was.
Also, on that note, can we just like give a quick shout out to the actor that played older Grindelwald, who just nailed it. Like the kind of sort of lunacy that lingered in his speech of, I say lunacy, but it's just kind of like, oh, I don't have what it is that you seek, but it lies with him. Like he just kind of totally changed persona in a fashion. It was just so well done.
Yeah, but one thing that kind of getting off of, like, I guess you and I can start talking about the things that break from canon. He actually didn't want to tell Voldemort.
Yeah,
he refused. He did not want to tell Voldemort, and like later
Voldemort kill him.
Yeah, Voldemort does kill him.
Yeah.
Voldemort does kill him, and he just didn't want to tell him. So a lot of that, and Harry and Ghost Dumbledore, I guess, basically have a discussion about it later on, and they talk about it, that it's just Dumbledore says, like, maybe he had a change of heart after 40 years in Nurmengard.
50.
Yeah, like 50 years in Nurmengard. Because that's the it was once his fortress, but now it is his prison.
Yeah, very interesting.
But yeah, he's been prisoner there this whole time, but he didn't want to tell Voldemort, and for reasons we are not entirely sure, because we just have guesses from Dumbledore. But I like to think that he maybe changed his mind after 50 years in prison. But looking back at what happened in the previous Wizarding War,
like, you lost my dude, get over it.
Yeah, like they had such a they had an interesting conversation, and that was taken away. But and I kind of, part of me disliked the fact that they kind of just made it seem like he's sinister and being like so willing to give it to Voldemort. But
it
makes sense for the movie, for just the movie's canon.
Sure.
I'm guessing that was one of his crimes, was that. No.
Wow. It should be. It should be.
I don't want Amber to do a.
No, the crimes is the hair.
Yeah.
Oh, hair. Okay.
Crimes is the hair.
So, I think we should talk about the Deathly Hallows themselves. I thought this scene was really interesting when we learn the sign of the Deathly Hallows. We get the tale of the three brothers. Brittany, you mentioned this before.
Yep.
I thought the way that was illustrated was really well done.
Mm-hmm.
What, walk us through how the tale goes, and what does the resurrection stone mean, the cloak of invisibility, and of course the elder wand. Take us through that, please.
So the three brothers are, minding their own business, walking their way home.
Yep.
There's a river that they can't cross, and being that they were learned in the magical arts. They crafted this bridge, and as they're walking over it, they're greeted by Death, who felt cheated that, you know, he didn't get his 3 victims from this river, but because Death is cunning, he pretends to congratulate them and rewards them each with the gift of, you know, their choosing. And so the first brother being Cadmus, as Amber has told us before. Antioch, sorry, not Cadmus. Antioch, he asks for the most powerful wand, you know, to be crafted, and Death crafted one from an elder tree, which Amber has already talked to us a little bit about. And so that brother parted. He ends up quarreling with the man who, you know, I think he kills, and then someone else takes the wand from him, and then, you know, because he
was bragging about how powerful it was.
Exactly. And so then the second brother had asked for a way to, in a fashion, humiliate Death and have a means to bring back, you know, our loved ones from the dead. And so Death gave him a stone plucked from the river, and he turned it thrice in hand and brought back his deceased fiance. And because she was deceased, she's not part of this world. She grew sad, and the brother ended up deciding, okay, well, she's not meant to be here. I can't live without her. I'm going to kill myself and go be with her. So that's the resurrection stone. And then you have the more humbled brother, who this is the one who Harry is believed to be a descendant of. Ignotus. He is asking Death for a way to go from that place and not be followed and not be seen. So Death offers up a piece of his own fabric, his cloak, the invisibility cloak. And so, you know, his 2 brothers died, and Ignotus was able to live to be an old man. And when he was ready to depart from this world, he passes on the invisibility cloak to his son and ends up greeting Death as a friend. I've watched this movie a lot, y'all. I could probably recite the whole damn story if I really wanted to, but there's your Cliff Notes. There's your Cliff Notes. So yeah, I mean, that's the story of the Tale of the 3 Brothers. And as I previously said, the Deathly Hallows is a visual of the wand, the stone, and the invisibility cloak into one symbol, which I happen to have on the back of my car. Yeah, that's right. That's right. It's a very popular tattoo amongst Potterheads, but one I do not have. My sister does. But yeah, that's the story of the Tale of the 3 Brothers and what the Deathly Hallows are.
And if you possess all 3, that makes you the Master of Death. Which sounds really cool. It sounds cool. Not gonna lie. Good job.
Yeah.
What now? I want to pose this question to each one of y'all.
Okay.
What would be? I know Amber's answer already, but I'm just gonna go ahead and ask. What would be the one hallow you would want to possess?
Amber, you go first.
It's the Elder Wand. Come on. Do I really need to say more? I mean,
nope, not if you don't want to. We get it. We get it.
It's a nice stick. It's a pretty stick. I like the shape of it. I do. I have him upstairs. He's all mounted on the wall. He's all pretty. But I has pretty runes on it. Back before they knew the significance of it, they wanted a very unique shape specifically for Dumbledore's wand, because they wanted it specifically for him. And since Dumbledore means kind of like bumbling bee kind of thing like that, it means bumblebee. And he usually like walks around humming and stuff like that. It's very like the look of it kind of looks like it's supposed to reminiscent of honeycomb.
Yep.
And I love bumblebees, so I really, really like it.
I don't. I got stung by one in the head this past year, so they can go F off and die.
I'm like Winnie the Pooh when it comes to honey. I can eat honey all day and night. Those honey spoons, I eat them like lollipops. I love honey.
You're funny.
I love bumblebees, but I just love the Elder Wand, so it's always going to be that one for me.
Justin?
Yeah, I mean, I think the wand is probably the best thing, but not to mix it up. I'll go with the invisibility cloak. You know, like I feel like that, you know, that would go well with my stealth kind of movements and missions. That would be, you know.
Yes.
I don't know.
Sneak into shows
Graceful
and games and things
over here.
Yeah. So
you can sneak into shows and games and stuff.
Yeah.
So
that's true.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. Yeah.
Okay.
I could find some use for that. So yeah. What about you, Brittany?
So there's a part of me that would want the invisibility cloak just to be able to kind of be left alone. Because let's face it, as I've gotten older, I don't want people to bother me. That's just real. But I think the idea, let's see if I can say this without getting emotional. There are people who in my life have gone too soon. Love to have them back.
Yep.
But you know, knowing or the idea that maybe, you know, because they're not meant to be in this world and, you know, you can't hold on to them for very long. But maybe be long enough for me to tell them how much I love them, miss them, want them here, you know, have that closure. So yeah.
Just to
wow.
visit.
Let's move on. I
Good
can't
choice.
do this right now.
Jesus. I wanted to get into some stuff that I thought was kind of, I mean, I thought it was entertaining, but I thought it was kind of strange. The polyjuice potion at the beginning, the Death Eaters are after Harry. And so everyone turns himself into Harry. The transformation, all that stuff. I thought that was pretty cool, but also like very dangerous for all the people who do that. It really shows that they, you know, they do believe in the chosen one. So,
yeah.
I'm sorry, Amber. What are your thoughts on the polyjuice potion? And have you had it? Does it taste good? Is it like Coke Zero or something? I mean, is it a sugar or, you know, whatever?
Oh my God.
If you add honey, does it taste better? I
guess. Well, we do know that that polyjuice takes about a month to brew. It
tastes like
very
goblin
difficult.
piss.
It's just out of reach, so I can't get it. But I have my best friend gave me a flask that has the ingredients for polyjuice potion on it.
Okay.
Yeah, it has very like the ingredients all like make actual like sense. Like there's a bicorn horn, lacewing flies, like all of the things that are in it actually like kind of have meaning for like duality and changing and stuff like that, which is really interesting. But beyond that, everyone does say that it tastes like goblin piss and that it does not taste good.
But I mean, how much goblin piss have we all had? No, I haven't had a ton for myself. So like, who knows?
No, I'm just kidding.
Brittany's like, I have a problem. Like,
I just can't really. I think, I don't know if this is like canon or fanon, but that
canon or fanon, that's awesome.
Those are terms.
I didn't know fanon. That's brand new to me.
Oh,
it's actually a street in Houston, but yeah, it's spelled differently probably.
It is.
Yeah, continue, Amber. Sorry, I didn't mean to sidetrack you. Go ahead.
No, I don't know. I don't know. I can't remember if it's canon or fanon, but that polyjuice potion does change. The flavor, I guess, does change slightly depending on who it is, whose essence is in there. For lack of a better word.
Jesus.
Yeah.
I don't. What other word? I do.
Good word by you. Good job by you. But like,
yeah.
I do think it's fun that I do think it's fun seeing, you know, the 7 Daniel Radcliffes running around. He
did a great job.
He did
embodying their personalities.
Because they did that. They did it the same way that they did Bellatrix and Hermione in the next movie, where the actors who play the characters did the scene themselves, and Daniel Radcliffe mimicked them to the best of his ability, which is an amazing ability. Like you can fully believe it. It was so good. I loved it. It's funny.
I love the twins after they've changed. They look at each other. Wow, we're identical. It's like, oh my God. You were already identical.
Well, they had like you were saying before, they had so many great lines in general. Like when Harry was like pitching a fit about all of them risking themselves, they're just like, well, imagine if we had to stay a scrawny speckled git forever. Like,
I'm like, I resent that, sir.
I resent that. Just like, Bill, don't look at me, I'm hideous. Like, ouch.
Did you catch the line? Justin won't know this, and unless you've read the books, you wouldn't catch this. Did you?
What if I've secretly read the books and like I've just been like
this whole time?
I know way more than all of y'all.
I put you on a different level in our friendship, sir. I will absolutely do that. But until then. The line that Ron
spoiler alert, it's not happening. So go ahead.
Yeah. So the line where Ron says, I knew she was lying about that tattoo. It had nothing to do with Fleur. It had everything to do with what Jenny had said about Harry having a Hungarian horntail tattoo on his body. I can't remember if it was his chest or his back. I think it was his chest.
I think it was his chest.
Yeah, but I caught that reference. It's just like, that's great.
I did. And
it's a great line.
But actually, now that we're kind of on that scene, there's a couple of things that are not talked about and are just hand waved over, and it hurts my heart. Is Remus
country there? Did you hear that? Hurts my heart.
I know. We're from Texas. She's not. She's in California.
I am not.
No, she's from Arizona.
She's from Arizona, but she's currently in California, correct?
She's a transplant. Yes.
Oh, okay. I was right.
I am. It hurts me so much because is Remus and Tonks like we?
Oh, I know.
Apparently, we're just going to completely skip over and ignore the part that they got married, and completely ignore and skip over the part like that. She's
with child.
Like, and she's one of the people risking herself for this. So it's just like. That kind of bothered me because she was trying to tell Harry, like, oh, wait till you hear the news. And then, Moody's just like, we don't have time for that. And it's like, you have a little time. I mean,
the runtime's 2 hours and 26 minutes. I think we have some time.
If we didn't have so much camping, if we didn't have a dance scene.
Oh my God. So much
have that damn dance scene.
I know.
That's a good look. When you have the hat, like
she had like a bonnet instead. It's adorable. Look, she went from being a witch to Little House on the Prairie.
Well, you just said she's like a Southern belle with her accent.
Oh yeah, that's good. That's good.
My dad's from Oklahoma. I don't know.
That's close. Yeah.
There we are. Justin's basically from South Oklahoma, so
Stop it.
I don't know.
Texas
it slips
through
in there sometimes.
Okay. No. One of the scenes I want to talk about is kind of on par with the Polyjuice because it's used again against the gold, amongst the Golden Trios when they infiltrate the Ministry, right?
Oh, I had thoughts on this too. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh yeah, everything like changes from the previous time we were at the Ministry. That final battle with Dumbledore and Voldemort, and now we have like a new regime, obviously because Scrimgeour has been killed, played by Bill Nighy. Who I think is fantastic. But now we have Pious Thickness, who is a Death Eater. That's Pious Thickness. That's his name. It's just a terrible name.
I know.
He's a thick boy. Yeah.
Thickness. Thickness.
No, it's I'm gonna be honest with you guys. My burst of laughter, I apologize, but it's from a Harry Potter podcast. The guy that I was listening to, it's a great one. It's a guy who reading and watching the books for the first time, and him and his friend wrote and sang and performed a rap about Pious Thickness, and now I just hear it in my head. So the second,
oh no,
I'm sorry, guys.
We don't want to get copyright claimed, but if you want to like give us a few bars, go for it. Brittany, maybe you can drop her a fat beat. We can. No. Okay.
I can't do it. No,
I don't even remember. I just remember.
Oh gosh.
Like I think like just because it's the name of the song of their little rap was just Enter Thickness. It's silly.
This is not awkward at all. Jesus.
It's silly. It's funny.
Well, is that fandom or is that I'm sorry, is that canon or fanon?
Canon or fanon?
It is fanon because they wrote it just to be goofy. It is dumb. But
anyway,
I apologize, everyone.
Too funny. But anyway, the ministry has changed. Obviously, they're the front for Voldemort's regime. Magic is might, y'all. And the Muggles are holding up the foundation, and they are in their rightful place, as Hermione describes with that statue. Seeing that statue in person, it's not really obviously a statue. It's made out of foam. Really convincing, though. But it's a really horrible way of thinking that, wizards are so superior to humans and we're going to take over. And of course, Dolores Umbridge is back in the forefront with the Horcrux necklace on her. And I love the fact that we're getting callbacks, of course, in this scene where she's interrogating a witch who she doesn't think is actually a witch. She's saying, you're not actually one, you're lying. You've got Dementors who are hanging out here. The use of the Patronus charm again on Harry's part. And he's got the callback as he's, morphing back into Harry from being, the using the polyjuice. He's like, you're lying, Dolores, and one mustn't tell lies. And it's like, it came full circle. It's so good. I love it. Absolutely loved it.
Gotta love a good killer line from the main character.
Yeah.
Dolores Umbridge, she really puts the whore in Horcrux. Am I right? I mean, I'm kidding.
Wow. Bravo.
No, the Brittany, that whole scene, you skipped over the most important part of the part I want to talk about.
Ron has a wife.
Well, that's obviously important too. But what's up with J.K. Rowling? Why did they have to flush themselves down the toilet to get to this level?
Why the hell not?
I mean,
who really is going to want to willingly flush themselves down a toilet in order to access their place of work?
Apparently a lot of people, because there was a line.
Well, it could just be, I guess, a fail-safe to make sure that Muggles don't stumble in there, because I think I'm safe to say that I don't casually flush myself down the toilet. So that's something you have to very intentionally do.
Yeah. You'd have to aggressively try to do that. And
yeah. So I think it was something that they did as a fail safe. If I'm trying to come up with a Watsonian reason as to why, that's why.
Okay.
If I was going with the Watsonian reason, I think that they just did it to try to fail safe Muggles just flushing themselves down the toilet.
I mean, you could just open a portal or some magic door, but yeah, flush yourself down the toilet. Cool.
We see the civilian entrance in the other movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. With the telephone booth. Yeah. No, but then of course, Ron gets macked on. That was kind of cool. Good for you. Get it, Ron? Hermione was horrified.
Hermione's face, she was just like,
yeah, it was great.
Lady didn't know.
Of course she didn't know. Also,
had no idea.
Also, Yaxley, fuck that guy. Him and his ponytail. Fuck that guy. Felt bad for Ron. Yeah, felt bad for Ron getting splinched. That sounds really horrible. Really painful.
It looked horrible too.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's probably how our friend Frank is feeling. Shout out to Frank Cooper. Feel better. Miss you. So yeah. Yeah, Ron's going through it. And then add insult to injury, he's got the necklace that's making him feel all the things. Yikes.
Yeah. By the way, Frank has a shoulder issue. That's why I bring
it up. Okay.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. Clarify.
He was not cut in some magical battle, but he was injured.
He was splinched. Okay.
Right. He's had a couple of.
It was injured by his own accord, but he's on the road recovery.
Well, happy healing.
Yeah.
Happy healing.
There we go.
Yeah. Happy healing, Frank. Yeah. So Ron, getting splinched, Ron having to wear the necklace, feeling that there's something going on between Harry and Hermione throughout this whole ordeal, and just being upset.
Yeah.
Just overall being upset. Like, he's like, we have another damn thing we need to find with regard to the Sword of Gryffindor, which is what Dumbledore left to Harry.
Right.
And it's missing, right? It's missing. They can't locate it. They know that it can defeat a Horcrux. And yeah, that was like a breaking point for Ron. Not sure why, but you know, it is what it is. And then pinning Hermione against him and Harry. It's like, or you know, are you gonna stay or are you gonna come with me? It's like, dude, seriously?
That was the Locket talking though.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, of course. But it kind of suggests
we've all
that maybe
it
kind of suggests that the Locket reveals your true feelings, or just really antagonizes
it
you
heightens
more.
your anger.
Right. It's you with the volume turned up, kind of.
Yeah. It's pretty bad. But with Ron coming back, saving Harry from the frozen lake as Harry was trying to retrieve the Sword of Gryffindor, it only felt appropriate that Ron be the one to destroy the locket that caused him so much pain. And even then, once it's open, it's still torturing Ron with seeing images of Harry and Hermione making out, which I can't imagine how these actors felt having to like make out with one another.
That's
it's
like
they grew
siblings.
up. They're like
grew up
siblings,
together,
exactly. Yeah, it's crazy. And
sorry for the side note, but I remember seeing this. This is actually the first movie I remember seeing in theaters.
Oh wow.
By the way, first time, because the other ones I know I did see them. Because okay, that's a bit of a lie because I do remember the second movie, but I don't remember seeing. I remember watching it. I remember like me and my nephew, me and my cousin watching the second. Like before the second movie started, we were feeding each other the jelly beans, Brady Bots, jelly beans. But so it was a bit of a lie. Sorry, but I remember this one very, very clearly because it was my high school did a huge event for it, and like we had discounted tickets and stuff like that. Like they basically bought out the theater for this thing. Yeah, it was really, really cool, and I went to it, and a lot of us did not expect that. So I think a lot of us were kind of just like, our school is like allowing us to watch this because they were naked. Granted, you couldn't see much because it was like smokified, but it was a little awkward.
Emma Watson went for it though. She's like, let's just get this over and done with. Like, get your shot. I'm done.
Yeah, but that's all. Like, I just distinctly remember being in that scene, and then obviously the Dobby scene later on. But those two things being like, our school's allowing us to watch this. It was awkward, but
a little bit.
Yeah, I can see that, like with your classmates and like your teachers and stuff. That would be kind of
yeah.
Someone over in the row next to you is kind of like, damn, I wish I was doing that. You know.
I'm pretty sure they probably were. It was high school.
Yeah, probably.
But you were focused on the movie though.
So I was, yeah. Then moments later, traumatized by Dobby.
Oh God, let's not talk about that just yet. I want to talk really quick about Ron reuniting with Hermione. She's pissed. Obviously, she throws leaves at him and calls him an arse because that's how they say it over there. Arse. You're an arse, Ronald Weasley.
Arse.
But then he says, to her, "Hey, it's because I heard your voice, that led me back to you, and it landed here. It went through me here, my heart." And it's like, oh my God, just kill me now. Like, could you? But
I do love Harry
cheesy?
Teasing him. Yes. I do love Harry teasing him later. Just be like, just keep talking about that light going into your heart, and she'll forgive you.
So great. It's so great. Prior to all this, really big scene that happens is Harry and Hermione going to Godric's Hollow. This is Harry's place of birth. This is where his parents died. He wanted to go see where he was born. He wanted to see maybe there was the Sword of Gryffindor was left there, right? Of course, he gets to see his parents' resting place. Hermione discovers the grave of the Ignotus Peverell with the Deathly Hallows symbol. But then we're also met by Bathilda Bagshot, who is a celebrated author in the wizarding world. She wrote A History of Magic. Justin, as a non-Harry Potter fan to our capacity,
right?
What did you think of that whole sequence of Harry meeting Bathilda, how she looked, what the house looked like, everything that transpired?
I mean, you can tell she had something. There was something like an ulterior motive to her, or something. Like she was definitely, not what she was kind of portraying herself to be. Just the way she talked to Harry. She's like, "Well, how well did you actually know Dumbledore?" Like that. That was the one things that I remember from her interaction, because she was
well, that's not Bathilda. Bathilda is the person in Godric's Hollow that walked up to them. No, who you're talking about at the wedding is actually Ron Weasley's great aunt.
Oh, I thought it was Bathilda Bagshot. Okay.
No, they talk about Bathilda Bagshot, who lives in Godric's Hollow, and that's who Harry meets in Godric's Hollow, and she says nothing to him, like nothing at all. Struggles with lighting.
Parseltongue.
Okay.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
she does in Parseltongue. We don't know what was said.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, so you got a little confused. No big deal. No big deal.
Yeah, so she's the snake, though. Like the snake.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Nagini was disguising herself as
in the corpse. Yeah. As normal things happen.
Right.
That is so dark.
Incredibly dark. And like Bathilda, was she in her house or was she in Harry's parents' house? Because I always got confused when that wall breaks down and then you see like the really well lit room and it's like it looks like it's a nursery. Like, is that supposed to be Harry's room?
No, actually they are in Bathilda's house, and because you do see because her having young Gellert Grindelwald's photo, because that's her nephew.
Yes, that is her
having him there makes sense, because they're related, and then also the Rita Skeeter book. But I kind of thought, because how it looks when they're walking through Godric's Hollow, is that the houses are all kind of connected and they all share a wall.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they broke into another house.
Okay.
When they went into the nurse,
because it was like it's really dark, right? When they enter, presumably Bathilda's home, and then the wall breaks, and it's a blue nursery, well lit, what have you, and then the snake, like you think the snake has been defeated, and then it jumps out at you, which always like scares John every time we watch the movie. He's like, but that's where the curse that Hermione uses rebounds and ends up breaking Harry's wand into pieces. So yeah, that whole sequence in theaters for me, it was a little frightening just because it's dark, things are happening rather fast, it's kind of loud. Giant snake. You don't want a giant snake coming after you like that, like down. Yeah,
it was a little spooky.
Yeah. Oh, and also when Bathilda's like whole skin is kind of just
just kind of melts away.
Yeah,
crumbles away.
I don't know what word to use for that, but yeah, it's just really gross. Really
gross. It was pretty gross, and I actually love horror, so the fact that I think it's gross is something.
Yeah, I agree. What's worse, seeing Bathilda's skin fall off and revealing Nagini, or Dobby being killed? We're gonna go with Dobby being killed for me.
Yeah.
Like which one affected me more? Which one affected me more is going to be Dobby.
Yeah.
But which one actually like visually sticks with me? It's going to be Bathilda, because
I can see that.
How they did that was just
it's gross.
But again, I like horror, so
that's true.
I thought it was how they did it. Mm-hmm. Showed just how creepy and horrifying it should have been.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Justin, you said you were pleased to see Dobby back again, but what do you think of his heroism, like with coming to help his friends, and because Harry has like this little mirror, this shard of mirror that every time he looks into it, there's an eye blue eye looking back. And Harry, you know, while he and Ron and Luna and Griphook and Mr. OllivAmber are all in the Malfoy cellar because they get snatched, you know, by snatchers, right? After Xenophilius, you know, jinx them. Harry looks at that shard of mirror and says, you know, please help us. And here pops Dobby. You know, Dobby who tried to save Harry in the past. And Harry said, you know, just promise me one thing, Dobby. Never try to save my life again. Yeah. But here he is, right? It's just so wonderful. Like, what did you think of seeing Dobby like that in that sense?
Well, I mean, it's good that Dobby didn't take Harry's advice because he obviously needed Dobby to make the save. But no, I thought it was really well done. That and obviously, you know, Dobby dying is, you know, pretty emotionally, you know, it plays pretty well. It's very sad. And then, you know, as he's dying, like I said earlier, he's in Harry's arms and he says that, you know, Dobby is happy to be with his friend Harry Potter. Pretty, you know, pretty sad stuff. And then Harry decides to bury him without any magic. So
yeah.
Quick question, actually, Justin, for you.
Sure.
Was that shard of mirror, because that's something from the books that wasn't really explained in the movie. I mean, we kind of get like a throwaway explanation in the next one, but I was wondering, did you have any confusion about that at all or questions about it?
Yeah, I mean, for me, that kind of came out of nowhere. Like I didn't remember him having that, but and I've done my best to really kind of follow along these movies this time. You know, my first rewatch of these movies and pay attention to them, and I didn't remember that, but there's things in this movie like the wedding. You know, in the beginning of the movie, they're talking about this. There's this wedding. I'm like, who's getting married? And then we find out it's this character we haven't seen, and Flora, who's only been in one other movie. So there's a lot of stuff that's kind of like, just, you know, you just kind of have to go with it, and
you kind of have to assume.
Yeah, and the mirror was the same thing. Like, you know, Harry, because he has these powers, I feel like, you know, the sky's the limit. So like, I didn't really question it, but also, if you were like, hey, Justin, could you write a thesis about this mirror, the history of it? I would say, no, thank you, I cannot. And so I thought it was, you know, I think there's a lot of cool things that he has at his disposal, but and obviously I'm not the hugest Harry Potter fan, but it kind of came out of nowhere for me.
That's fine. I was actually just curious about it because it was a gift from Sirius that James and Sirius used to use to actually talk to each other. Like it's like a walkie-talkie, I guess, or like FaceTime.
Okay.
Yeah. That's what they had used it for, but and Harry had forgotten about it, and it was at the bottom of his trunk, and it broke, and he didn't have all the pieces apparently. So so he only has a shard left, and like in the books, there's actually like a really sad moment after Sirius dies where he tries to like see if he can see Sirius in the mirror, and he can't because, you know, it doesn't work like that. But the other side of the mirror does get like Sirius's part of the mirror does get taken by a character we meet in the next movie.
Yeah.
And that is who Harry is talking to in the mirror, and that's who he's been seeing, like, because as he moves it kind of reflects a face sometimes, and that is that person who has a striking resemblance to another person who is dead,
but not really. Not really.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Apparently. Yeah.
Well, I'm looking forward to finding out who that is because I don't remember offhand, but yeah.
Okay.
No, I'm looking forward to it. The last question I have for y'all, and I guess Brittany, you go first. So, how many Horcruxes are left on the board?
I mean, what has been destroyed to date, or up until this movie, is the Tom Riddle's diary. Okay. Dumbledore had found the ring that had belonged to Voldemort's grandfather. Yes, grandfather. Yeah. Not the last time we'll see the ring, by the way, guys. Then we also have the locket that has been destroyed. So at this point, it's believed that, well, rather they believe that there's 3 more that need to be that needs to be discovered, but might be an extra one that hasn't been considered. So remember, we work in sevens, people. There's 7 books. Should have been 7 movies.
They think it's 7 parts of the 7 fragments of the soul. It's just Voldemort math versus Harry math. Like,
yeah, boy math.
Because anyway. Voldemort's like, whatever. We'll get there when we get there.
He dumb. Anyway, he dumb. But yeah, so they kind of believe that there's at least 6, a total of 6 at this point. But they haven't accounted for something as of yet. But we'll cover more about that in part 2 of the Deathly Hallows.
Yeah. And they don't know what the other 3 remaining are.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah. Amber, I appreciate you doing the visual aids with the counting them down. That was
it was helping me because I was like, I was kind of panicking. I'm like, well, if he asks me, I don't know. So
it worked out.
Someone's gonna know.
Yeah. So I'll start with you, Amber. Is there anything that we haven't talked about from this movie that you'd like to discuss?
No, not really. I think we covered most of it. In between us, both of us operating away.
Yes. Yeah.
Leaving Brittany alone. I think we did pretty good. I like this movie, but it's not one of my favorites because of the lagging and because of that damn dance scene. But I'm excited for part 2 because that one is one of my favorites.
Looking forward to that one as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I echo more or less Amber's sentiments of, it's a necessary movie, obviously, because you do need to understand just how the trio get to a certain point. Once we start really getting, going full speed once we get to part 2, but there's some things here and there that dragged. It doesn't rank extremely high for me when it comes down to all of these movies, but it has its moments. I think the twins really do help with their one-liners, with George, but I don't know if it was Fred or George, because honestly, I can't tell the difference between the two, because they are identical. Before they take a swig of polyjuice about, remarking Moody's experience with goblin piss. And he's like, just trying to diffuse attention. And I actually have that quote on a shirt, and I thought about wearing it today, but again, it's cold, wasn't changing. So that being said, lots of funny one-liners. I love the scene or the setup of the Weasley wedding. I thought that was very beautiful. I would have loved to have done that. But yeah, with that being said, there's
our wedding, babe. With our wedding, don't worry.
Yes. Do over. Fuck yeah.
Anyway, I get an invite for that because
you got invited to the other one. Just stop.
I know, I'm just
You're just upset you didn't get to go to the bridal shower. Anyway, so that being said, it is an inside joke, but it's something that's needed. I love. We didn't really talk too much about Bellatrix Lestrange. I just absolutely love Helena Bonham Carter as Bellatrix. I think she's absolutely fantastic, and she's going to be even more fantastic in part 2, being herself but not herself. So yeah, it's there's a lot of sad moments. Of course, we lose Mad Eye Moody, we lose Hedwig, we lose Dobby. I feel like we're just ripping apart our souls as we're watching this. I feel like, I'm being murdered in some fashion.
Turn it off then, Brittany. You're okay.
I mean, with Hedwig dying, why?
Yeah.
Why?
That's
kill off other things, but not Hedwig. Anyway,
I mean, do we need Ron and Hermione?
Wow.
I'm kidding.
Actually, JKR did consider killing off Ron at one point. Yep. And his dad. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the dad, I can see absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Get rid of the guy. No.
Terrible.
So, anyway. Amber, we talked a lot about wands, or you did, I should say, in this episode, but you have much more to say about wands because of your channel, how can people find your channel and check out all your stuff?
You can find me at OllivAmbers.wands. That's OllivAmbers.wands. You can find me on Instagram, and we can talk about a whole bunch of things. I like other things other than just Harry Potter, and I like a whole slew of things, but primarily it is wands. So definitely message me. We can talk, we can chat, whatever. I do have a Tumblr for it. I also have a TikTok for my wands channel. Same information everywhere. And of course, the channel itself is on YouTube, where we do full wand analysis of the wands, the cultural, historical, and symbolic meanings of the wood and the cores.
Very cool. Definitely check that out. It's always a pleasure to have Amber join us for the podcast. Always brightens the show, brightens our day. So it's great to have her on here.
And she's going to be back with us tomorrow. Justin.
Yes.
Wednesday is Loki.
Yep.
We're going to talk about the latest episode from season 2 of Loki.
Yep.
And I have so many questions. So many questions.
I've got to rewatch it again. So
same.
I have to rewatch it again too.
But I have questions. My God. And I'm glad.
Are they time travel questions?
Yes and no.
Okay.
Yes and no. More to do with the ending, because it's like,
okay.
Excuse you, what? But we're going to talk all things Loki tomorrow. So be sure to subscribe, hit that notification bell. That way you can join us for the live chat and ask all your questions and join us, because Amber just knows a lot about time stuff. I think she's a time lord, because
thank you for the Doctor Who reference.
The ultimate compliment to Amber. Yeah,
I know,
thank
right?
Thank you. I mean,
yes, Yesenia's here for it. She's like, woot woot. She's like, yes, yeah, she's in. So yeah, hopefully Yesenia will see you back here on our channel for Loki.
So now you know what we thought about Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1. We want to know what you think about it. And Brittany, how can people tell us what they thought about the movie?
Leave your comments down below if you're watching the replay. We really appreciate hearing your thoughts and what you liked, what you necessarily didn't like about the movie, how it differs from the book, etc. Leave us your thoughts. As I mentioned before, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and also hit that like button. Helps out our channel a whole lot. And we do encourage everyone to join us for our live chats for anything and everything. Doesn't just have to be Harry Potter. We're also covering Gen V, Loki, as I mentioned. We've got a lot of other things that we've covered in the past, a lot of Marvel stuff, which Justin and I will probably be reviewing the Marvels in the coming weeks. So if you're into MCU stuff, be sure to check that out. But you can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Threads at Watchers Basement. You can also use the same hashtag Watchers Basement to help grow our audience. Send us memes, send us articles, send us things that you would like for us to review. We'll put that on the list, because we are pretty much booked for the rest of the year, y'all. Like we've got stuff, lots of stuff. So once again, hit subscribe, hit that notification bell. And lastly, if you're not into our video podcast, no worries at all. We've got you covered for audio podcasts that usually will be available the day after the video podcast. So if you have Apple Podcasts, if you have Spotify, go follow us over there. Give us a 5-star rating.
Thank you, Brittany. I really appreciate it. So for Brittany and for Amber, I'm Justin saying thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time. Have a great rest of your day. Happy Halloween. And goodbye.
Morning.